Factor 3. Academics need extra support. 3.1. The academic staff and their emotional well-being. Workplace well-being is described as relating to all areas of working life, from quality and safety of the physical environment to how employees feel about their work, their working environment, the climate at work, and work structure, by the International Labour Organization, ILO 2017. While emphasizing current problems with the way academic labor is structured, the epidemic has increased many sources of stress for academic librarians and faculty. Many now believe they must choose between their own mental health and productivity. 3.2. The academic's risk of occupational stress is well documented. Academic mental health has never been in such jeopardy. The pandemic and quick conversion to online learning compounded the effects of already excessive workloads and rising standards for academic production. Collectively, these have had a detrimental effect on university faculty members' mental health. The impact of working conditions on faculty members' mental health was a problem even before the pandemic, according to the unions and the faculty. This problem predates the pandemic. There have been long issues with mental illness in academics. Gail Kinman evaluated the literature on academic pressures and strains 20 years ago and noted that faculty members routinely report high levels of stress, anxiety, and other mental health difficulties in many different countries. This has been supported by more recent research from around the globe. In 17 universities across Australia, a 2003 study found that the prevalence of mental illness among academic employees was 3 to 4 times higher than that of the general population. Insufficient funding and resources, work overload, poor management techniques, job insecurity, and a lack of recognition and reward were found to be the 5 main causes of occupational stress. Most groups claimed that occupational stress was negatively affecting both their professional selves and personal well-being. According to a 2017 RAND Europe research, 37% of academic staff members reported having a mental health condition. According to survey results, the majority of university employees find their work difficult. Burnout rates among university employees appear to be greater than those of the overall working population and are equivalent to those of high-risk groups like healthcare professionals. Based on self-reported information, more university employees and postgraduate students than other working groups were at risk of having or developing a mental health problem. In the same year, a British study indicated that minor mental disorder symptoms were present in 43% of the academics it sampled, with depression, anxiety, and burnout as the most common, contrary to those who held tenure or tenure track positions, contract faculty members suffer from mental illness as a result of job insecurity, which is exacerbated by ambiguous or discriminatory hiring procedures, inadequate financial compensation, and a marginalized status in the academic community. 3.3 Major stressor: publish or perish. There is a paradox in the way academic work is organized. One of the most alluring aspects of becoming an academic is autonomy. Academics are allowed to select the projects they want to work on and the areas of study. The institution is, however, what some have referred to as a greedy enterprise. Universities are systematically exploiting academics' dedication to their careers and moral character by pushing them to develop more spectacular CVs in order to advance their careers and receive financing for their research, even when there are financial constraints. For the academic staff, a major source of work-related stress is the severe workload. Due to the move to online instruction during the pandemic and the requirement to keep up with distance service and research commitments, workloads have increased even further. In fact, more than a third of the respondents identified digital stress as a serious issue. Additionally, there is a lot of pressure to release fresh content. It is becoming more and more expected of faculty members to publish more, especially in high-impact journals, and to compete for and be awarded increasingly larger funding. Academics are frequently required to participate in community partnerships and information exchange, frequently through increased use of social media or writing for a larger audience, in addition to producing high-quality research. Although this task requires time and effort, it does not have a significant impact on assessments of productivity for research funds or decisions on tenure and promotion. Academics experience early work-related demands, and many report increasing stress levels as they are establishing their careers. According to research, tenure-track jobs today require more quality publications than they did in the past for candidates to be successful. Academics who work long hours experience poor mental health due to stress brought on by their excessive assignments. It may be anticipated that the strain would lessen around mid-career. However, with productivity defined almost solely in terms of publications and grants, less productive mid-career academics can still be chastised or referred to as deadwood. It has been demonstrated that persons with underlying mental health disorders find it particularly difficult to maintain high productivity levels in academia. Many academics believe they must put in long hours and are under constant pressure to accomplish more and be more productive, which frequently leaves them feeling anxious, guilty, insufficient, ineffective, and afraid of falling behind. Participants in the survey raised the anxiety they go through as a result of their workload, which is partly brought on by the fact that they are always being evaluated. Academics are judged by their peers, students, universities, funding organizations, and occasionally the press and the public. Additionally, academic workers' persistent worry is exacerbated by the usage of audit and ranking systems in academia. 3.4 Gender differences and work-related stress. Women academics consider work-life balance, providing for family members, and emotional labor as important elements affecting their mental health, which is consistent with the gender nature of academic work contexts. The gender differences in occupational stress reported by academics show that managing work, having a disproportionate amount of family caregiving responsibilities, working in a non-supporting environment at work, and feeling undervalued cause significant stress for women. Longer working hours are linked to work-life conflict for female faculty members, but not for men, according to research. The COVID-19 epidemic has a particularly negative effect on the mental health of women in higher education due to gender inequality. Long-standing disparities among professors have been made apparent by the epidemic, with women academics bearing a disproportionate share of the burden of increased care and household duties. Because they are unable to write and conduct research, many academic women have fallen behind. Extending the tenure and promotion deadlines was one way several colleges responded to faculty and union concerns, but this kind of policy adjustments and allowances might unintentionally harm women professors. Supposedly, gender-neutral stop-the-clock tenure policies have been found to significantly lower tenure rates for women while increasing rates for men, according to a study by Heather Antical. This research highlights the unintended consequences of policies that ignore the longer-term effects of caregiving. 3.5 Quality of work relations. It is possible to find many genuine and healthy relationships in the intense climate of an academic setting. Despite being overused, the adage, "goodness thrives in difficult times," is true. It is common to observe friendships forming as a result of a shared burden of long hours of work across a variety of different laboratories and research groups and through their particular dynamics. Importantly, there is data that suggests that these close ties at work might enhance well-being, since factors like feeling like you belong at work and having good relationships with coworkers are strong indicators of self-reported health. It should come as no surprise that individuals with whom these difficulties are shared may readily provide the support and understanding that are essential for any relationship. Case studies demonstrate that dealing with mental health issues in academics requires help from peers and superiors. Graduate students who scored poorly on anxiety or depressive disorder assessments were more likely to rate their interactions with their principal investigators or supervisors favorably. The mentoring support present in the lab setting contributes to the well-being of the students by offering early psychological support, which can make a difference in the struggle against mental diseases even before a formal diagnosis. In fact, laboratory co-workers and group members are frequently the only individuals close enough to someone exhibiting early signs of discomfort to pick up on more subtle symptoms such as apathy or restlessness. Additionally, it is not unusual to come across academic researchers who have or have had love partners. These individuals are frequently colleagues or workers in the same lab. Faculty members fully support the measures that many institutions have in place to prevent these kinds of connections in instances of supervision. Nevertheless, academic institutions generally permit romantic partnerships in contrast to many other workplaces where hierarchy-dependent roles are valued. In fact, a poll of graduate students shows that being in a relationship with someone who works for the same company is positively correlated with one's self-assessed work performance and intrinsic drive. It is crucial to make the distinction that, despite accepting the inherent difficulty of academic research, hostile environments cannot be tolerated. There is a distinction between difficult circumstances and unpleasant ones, and it is up to each person to decide where that line should be drawn. In academic, mental health is undoubtedly a problem, and we should be more aware of one another's difficulties.